Well, what is up, all of our liberty-loving friends? This is another fantastic episode of Good Morning Liberty. My name is Nate Thurston. Across from me is Mr. Charles Chuck Thompson on a somber day. Charlie, how are you doing?
I'm offended, honestly.
Why?
That was way too, excited of an intro for...
Oh, yeah. I didn't sound somber enough.
No, not for what today's heavy.
It is.
It's a heavy day, and
It's
you
a
just
really
come
sad
right
day.
in acting like it's a fantastic show off the bat. You come in just spreading your hope and optimism and happiness.
Every once in a while, you got to try and bring people something good. When we're
You're
sitting
invalidating
here,
people's feelings.
I'm not. I'm trying to make them feel better. It's been 2 years since arguably the worst day in American history. When you think back through all the dates. Right up there, as we know, with
2 years? Just one?
2 years, right?
Just one.
It's two, because our Dumb Believe of the
yeah.
Year was based on the 1 year anniversary.
That's right.
Time flies after democracy ends, as they say. That's what my granddaddy used to say.
Well, I'm still in 2022. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got some stuff. I guess we'll get right into it. Dumb Bleep number one, it's more of an honorary Dumb Bleep, and I want everyone to remember that while they're voting, because Dumb Bleep number one is going to be our conversation about Jan 6th. But we did just have Dumb Bleep of the Year, happened to be a Jan 6th conversation that Kamala Harris won. But in honor of the victims, we had to give it an honorary number in today's voting. I would request, though, that out of respect for the victims, you vote for the other super dumb things that happen, or just do whatever you want, because it's a free country.
Yeah.
Luckily, because
Just
the Capitol Police were able to fight back the mob.
Just make sure you have a heavy heart today.
Oh, yeah. It's super. Well, yours is heavy because you took that vaccine.
Yeah. Yeah. If a picture could paint 1,000 words.
Listen, now we talked about this.
Those 1,000 words would say something like the death of democracy.
Do you want to hear what I thought was a pretty funny couple minutes from us 2 years ago, live? Look how much we've changed since
studio.
then. The olden times.
Wow.
We look different. You still have a hat on.
Yep.
A different hat, though. I had more hair at that time.
Less
I would
gray.
say. Less gray for sure. I was maybe larger, potentially, in the face at least.
Or the camera. I don't know. It adds a few pounds.
We had our shelves. The shelves were off a little bit. If you've been hanging out for a while, you know about whether or not we have the shelves aligned. It's a big deal. And so from the get-go, because we happened to be live and we had CNN playing on the screen while we were talking about this, Charles and I were not in support of what was happening on that fateful day.
Still not.
Still not in support of it. We're much more likely to make fun of it right now. I'll tell you, I've had fun on Twitter over the last couple of days.
Yes.
For sure. But we were not in support of it. And I think in this, we talk a little bit about why. We know that.
It's the
Not
drama.
The Pope of Liberty.
Yeah. We already know that. And so the principle behind this has nothing to do with fighting for the individual liberty, which would be all the other reasons to have stormed the Capitol building over the last 100 years. There were plenty of them. This is not. This is because, as Todd just said, you're idolizing a political official. That's what it is. There's no principle behind this. There's no, I want the Constitution back. There's no, I want to, when Thomas Jefferson returns one day, that he's going to be happy with our system of government and the amount of liberty that we have. That's not what this is. This is because I'm obsessed with Donald Trump and MAGA, and it's one of the only pathways that still work in my brain.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. And so I can't get behind what they're doing right now because there's no end goal that has where there's a positive benefit. There's not even an end goal of changing the election. There's no option of today having a good outcome for anyone at all, except for Democrats who are, honestly, they're having to conceal their pants tent right now over what's going on. Sorry,
Yeah.
They just are.
They're making returns to the pants store.
Yes, like they love this. CNN hasn't even gotten the commercial yet.
Must be the
Okay,
pleats.
we're probably cutting into your regularly scheduled programming right now to show you the same clip of people breaking a window a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
And so they love this, but there's no. The Democrats did love it, didn't they?
They still do.
They still do. It's still their favorite thing in the world.
Yeah. It's the drama behind keeping the investigation going for years and bringing it up all the time and comparing it to things like 9/11 and Pearl Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable.
As we talked previously, we were talking with
Doesn't
the
mean I
group,
support it.
No. But we think that each generation, I think the government wants each generation to have their own 9/11 type event to happen so they can renew their powers. And January 6th was made perfectly for the new social media tech age that we have now that's a little bit different from 9/11. Didn't have all the social media stuff at that time. And so this is their new gateway towards violating more of your rights. Here's just a little bit from the left perspective about what happened that day.
On January 6th, I snuck into the Trump rally and documented the mega-terrorist break into the Capitol. This is what really happened with information the news is not including. There was more protection to get into the Trump rally than outside the Capitol building. Even backpacks were required to be thrown out before entry.
Because he was still the president.
Rights were in attendance, and every speaker talked about voter fraud. Trump called for the attack.
Walk down to the Capitol, get your people to fight.
Thousands and thousands of Trump.
I had to play that because I watched this earlier. You got a ton of retweets, a bunch of people. That was so selectively edited.
Yes.
He called for the attack, and it's walk down to the Capitol, get your people to fight. Those things occur 30 minutes away from each other. In the middle of a sentence where he says, I'm going to go with you, and we are going to walk down to the Capitol. And then he talks about peacefully and patriotically making your voice. And later on where he says, you got to get your people to fight. He's talking about something completely different where Republicans were telling him to lower his rhetoric down a bit. Yeah. And he was talking about the weak Republicans and how they don't have a backbone and that you got to get out there, and they needed to get their people, representatives, their Republicans to fight for all those things. They had nothing to do with each other at all. And we're still doing this. We're still getting thousands of retweets on crap like this.
And it's not like elected officials in other places during the BLM protests and stuff weren't saying to fight.
No.
To go out there and have your voices be heard.
They would never.
And your fists. And I
One thing that's interesting, I guess we'll move on a little bit here. What about Ray Epps? He was there. Now, one thing that is interesting that came out in the January 6th investigation was that Ray Epps himself said that he orchestrated. He said, I helped orchestrate it, something like that. I'll read it exactly here in a second. Here's a little bit of Ray Epps, who's not a Fed.
We need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. Peacefully. Fed.
That guy. That guy.
Definitely not a Fed.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I love how the crowd recognized it right away. I remember seeing this. They're like, no. Fed.
Oh, man. Yeah, so you played that video. We got the Fed. Here's what he said. He was texting his nephew, and he said, was in the front with a few others. I also orchestrated it. That's what he said. Yeah. That's it. We can't even talk about that. That poor guy's a victim.
Yeah.
Man.
Never arrested, never detained, never charged with a crime. and yet they do these investigations and still come out with the fact that Trump incited it. They impeached him. By the way, again. Twice.
We already talked about that. Oh, okay. Daniel Crenshaw out there. This whole House Speaker thing's going on. So
that was number one, Jan 6.
That was number one. The honorary Dumb Bleep number one goes to the anniversary of Jan 6. And a happy Jan 6 to everyone. Okay?
Yeah.
You celebrate. I don't know. You guys celebrate. I told Lacey we couldn't take down the Christmas tree until January 7th. All right?
Well, we got more fireworks and flagpoles.
That would be kind of funny if that becomes a day where people shoot off fireworks. Yeah. I hope people do that.
Yeah. And it says Jan 6 when it explodes in the sky. I also ordered those drones that light up in the sky, and they're like automatic. It says never forget Jan 6.
No, I'll never forget it.
So those are going to be flying tonight while the fireworks are going off, while everyone's silent for the atrocity that occurred. We will condemn the terrorists, the domestic terrorists tonight.
The domestic terrorists, like the people who won't vote for Kevin McCarthy?
Well, some of those, yeah.
Yeah, like those people.
But mainly the domestic terrorists who orchestrated and committed the attack on our democracy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you. All right, well, let's listen to a little bit from Dan Crenshaw for Dumb Bleep number 2.
Hang on, you're right, T-Dub. There should be a GML moment of silence to remember Jan 6. Don't ever forget.
We won't. All right, everyone. Dumb Bleep number 2, Dan Crenshaw, and this whole crazy Kevin McCarthy vote. I didn't realize that Kevin McCarthy was like the saint of Republicanhood or whatever. Honestly, it's this important, you know? It's got to be all the people that have paid for McCarthy to get to that point are then controlling all the other people that they've paid. And they're like, no, we have been setting this up for years. You cannot let this go down. He's the one who has to win.
He needs to be the speaker.
He must. If he doesn't, then we've lost our democracy. Honestly, this is from Dan Crenshaw, who is a Republican. And at one point, I like this guy.
At one point, seemed decently libertarian.
Mm-hmm. He did.
Yeah.
He seemed very libertarian. So what happened? You know? Money? Or was he never libertarian? He just kind of seemed libertarian. It was fake. That's probably what happened. Yeah. Okay, well, let's hear 2 funny clips from him.
Byron Donalds is running. Byron Donalds is running.
The end of it's the funny part.
You don't think he's a credible candidate?
He started 5 minutes ago. And no, he's not a credible candidate. He's a freshman who started 5 minutes ago. That's not running. He didn't raise hundreds of millions of dollars to win the Republican majority in multiple election cycles. No. That's not a credible candidate.
But is there, are you or anyone, I know in your mind, Mike, you're still with Kevin McCarthy, you're still very loyal in that regard, but eventually the more this keeps happening, you begin to wonder, what is an alternative here? I'm just wondering, we keep repeating this, right?
But it's not loyalty to the man, it's loyalty to the rule of law that we abide by here. If you always set this precedent where a mere 20 people can just destroy the conference of over 200, then you're setting a terrible precedent, and they'll just keep taking scalps. We've seen it over.
That's it. That was the main Dumb Bleep portion.
They'll just keep taking scalps.
If you can't let the minority disrupt the will of the majority
of the one party.
You can't of one party. Yeah. Still.
Literally taking Bernie Sanders' line, basically. Adding his own flair to it. But he's taking the same line.
It is.
Yeah.
Only this time it's 20 people. It's 20 different representatives of who knows how many hundreds of thousands to millions of people around the country who are saying that they don't want this guy to be the speaker.
They're saying nay.
And that somehow that destroys the whole system. We've made it all the way here to these people are terrorists. You don't believe me? We'll go to the other clip then.
Also, I mean, this guy makes enough money for a fake eye. Come on. It's over, you know? He's showboating now.
What if he already got one, but he just likes the patch?
That's what I mean. He's showboating.
He's showboating.
Because he's known now. Come on, man, lose the patch.
Get another scalp and another scalp, whether it's Boehner or Paul Ryan or then McCarthy. Scalise would just be next, and we all know it. We just can't allow that to happen. That's why those of us are saying, look, you pushed us into this corner, so now we're saying we won't vote for anyone but McCarthy. That's why we're saying it, because we cannot let the terrorists win. That's basically what's happening.
God, calling congressmen and women terrorists. I don't know if there's any women.
Now this is a guy.
The faction.
How did he lose that eye, you think? You know? This is why I've kind of had this thing where we haven't made fun of his eye patch.
Actual terrorist.
We haven't called him a pirate until now. But since he's going to go out there as a guy who served and who fought and going to start calling these people terrorists, no, then I can't have any respect for what he did anymore, because honestly, he doesn't take it seriously, so why would I take it seriously? I'm not going to.
He's setting the precedent.
He is. It's a dangerous precedent, man. There'll be a lot of pirate jokes out there. We talked about those. So I guess dumb bleep number 2.
I can't believe he's actually calling them terrorists.
I know what he's saying it as a figure of speech, I guess. He's quoting
Democrats.
Maybe maybe he's quoting George Bush or something, or you can't let the terrorists win. And
what's interesting is the 20 people are taking the same stance. We're like, we're not going to let McCarthy win, no matter what you do. So how are you right and they're wrong?
I don't know. But
you both got your sticks in the mud. It's time to touch sticks.
Touch your sticks together. Come on, it's 2023.
Get them out of the mud.
I made the joke here. These domestic terrorists who refuse these. Now, terrorists, they often have a list of demands. And they have some demands.
And America will never adhere.
You cannot give in.
You can't give in to terrorists.
We know from being Americans, you do not give in to terrorist list of demands.
That's right.
Even if their demands are that they want a vote.
And America learned this in The Art of the Deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For sure.
And don't split the difference.
From the top terrorist himself. Balanced budget, fair tax act, Texas border plan, term limits. And I said these types of extremists must be stopped. Our democracy is in peril.
That's good.
Just tell them you're going to vote on those things. No one's guaranteeing you're going to win. He's worried that they'll win. And he's also worried that they'll have to put their names down as not supporting those things. McCarthy's either worried that those things would pass. Of course, they would get shot down in the Senate. He's worried those things would pass, or he's worried because they don't want to put a no vote next to those things. Other than that, what are you worried about? It's not like any of that's actually going to become law.
Right.
Jeez. I can't miss this next trade that's kind of potential. And we talked about, he was mentioning Byron Donald, so Corey Bush got dumb bleep number 3.
What, you missed your other tweet that you made that I thought was really funny to add to this.
Which one? From today?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't put it in there.
The Dan Crenshaw.
I don't remember how I worded it anymore. What was it?
I don't remember the wording either.
I said,
really
I'll tell you here in a second. Like I said, it just became okay to make fun of this.
Yeah, it had to do with what he wears.
I said Dan Crenshaw is just another establishment Republican disguised as a liberty-loving conservative pirate. It really helps if you say it, just like that, too. It doesn't come through quite as good in a tweet.
The tweet's gold. It should be viral.
It can, because Musk is suppressing our speech. That's clearly.
Yeah. All right, dumb bleep number 3. Corey Bush. What does FWIW mean? Somebody help me.
Any kids out there?
Any kids
with? Any kids out there know what that means?
Come on.
For whatever it's worth. Daisy.
Of course Daisy would know.
Coming in.
For whatever it's worth. Byron Donalds is not Byron Donalds is not a historic candidate for speaker. He is a prop. Despite being black, he supports a policy agenda intent on upholding and perpetuating white supremacy. His name being in the mix is not progress. It's pathetic. Yeah.
So Republicans nominate, although not a real, we know it's not a real nomination. The guy's not gonna make it, probably because he's black. But they nominate someone for speaker who is black, saying that this is a historic candidate. She says, he didn't vote for Joe Biden.
As Costco just pointed out, he's a black white supremacist.
He is. He is.
Clayton Bigsby in Byron Donald's form.
I actually had the clip of Biden. I can't find it right now, but I guess I won't have it. But as you all remember, this guy, actually, Byron Donalds, he is a Trump supporter. It's even in his Twitter bio, like pro-Trump. We're still doing that in 2023. He's got pro-Trump in his Twitter bio. Let it go, people. Come on. Anyway, he's not black because he didn't vote for Joe Biden.
Oh, I remember.
Because you ain't black.
That's right.
We know that.
All right. You want me to do number 4?
Go ahead.
Because you have this half-hour thing?
Yep.
All right. The White House tweets, initial unemployment claims have plummeted and continue to be low under President Biden's leadership. Thanks to the president's economic plan, we are transitioning to stable, steady growth. And they show a chart here. Unemployment claims when President Biden took office versus now. So it's a rolling 4-week average of initial claims. Now remember that, rolling 4-week average. January 2021, there's 828,000. Now 214,000.
We've done this so many times, but they're still doing it.
I can't. How do you?
They posted this yesterday, Charlie.
How do you morally and ethically post something like this, knowing full well it's a lie? Because these aren't stupid people.
No, the people posting this, they know what they're doing, but they bet on the people that are going to vote for them or that follow them being stupid. That's their assumption.
Yeah.
Because the people, I guess people aren't actually going to think about it. They want this graph. What they want is this chart. Look, when Biden took over, this is how bad Trump's economy was. And now look how good Biden is doing compared to what he inherited. No one's going to mention the fact that the economy was still pretty much shut down at that point, and a lot of people literally weren't allowed to work. So there were a lot of unemployment claims happening.
And not only were they not allowed to work, they were incentivized not to work.
They were still being paid.
Till the summer of 2021.
The red one, people were still being paid to not work, and people were literally not allowed to go to work, and businesses were still being shut down. The other one, you're totally fine.
COVID's
This is a free
gone.
country. We got unfettered capitalism again.
COVID doesn't exist except for in a few remote places where they're still requiring masks for kids.
Pandemics, like where? Where'd you say it was?
I think it was in North or South Carolina.
Man,
after winter break, they're wearing masks again. You know, those darn kids.
So Joe Biden or the White House.
Also, it's a rolling 4-week average.
Mm-hmm.
So they're taking 4 weeks and averaging them out for that specific time period. So basically that's December 2020's numbers.
True.
And this would be November of 2022's numbers. Because the average of those rolling 4 weeks. It's insane.
It's a fake number.
It's fake.
And once again, they're betting on people being idiots. And unfortunately, they keep winning that bet.
Yeah.
They've done really well off of that bet.
Did you have to take action at the half hour?
No. Here's one that does matter,
nothing
Charlie.
For you to do then until the end of the day.
I have to watch until this closes, so I gotta keep paying attention.
Don't believe number 4.
No, this is actually a continuation.
Same.
You pointed this out earlier. You're the one that said, "Oh, the participation rate. That's not good."
Oh yeah. So the labor participation rate actually went down again.
I think it was up a tick from the last one, possibly.
No.
Was it down?
It was down a tick.
Okay.
The labor participation rate went from about 63.8% to 62.4%, somewhere around there. So just so y'all know, by the way, over 1/3 of the country is not working. And we haven't even made it close. Well, I guess we've made it semi-close to...
you see the big COVID drop. This is the one that actually matters.
Well, that's because Trump was still president, and then, Biden took over.
Biden's doing his best.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying this is all Biden's fault. What is important to note here is that we are not back to the pre-pandemic levels. We still have a lot more people not working that could be working, and that's not good. The participation rate is a pretty important one to look at. So I just wanted to point out the participation rate previous, the last reading was 62.2. This one was 62.3. And
it also, this is a way better number than unemployment.
Yeah.
Because unemployment stops counting people who quit looking. So it's a way better number.
Okay, number 5. Adam Schiff with the crazy eyes. This is actually a tweet from December 20th of 2022. I'll tell you why it's in today's Dumb Bleep, although most of you probably know. Adam Schiff says, "I don't support censorship or hate speech." As the outgoing CEO of Twitter, how about you? He is responding to Elon Musk after Musk said that he was, going to be giving up that job. So I guess I'll read Musk's tweet first. He tweets at Schiff saying, "As the outgoing chair of the House Intelligence, Did you approve hidden state censorship in direct violation of the Constitution of the United States? Representative Adam Schiff. He was setting them up right there.
Yeah.
He was setting them up for a lie because Musk probably already had the tea at that point in time. Schiff says, as the outgoing CEO of Twitter, how about you? Why not do more to stop slurs against black people, LGBTQ plus people, Jewish people, and others? Do you commit to providing the public with actual answers and data, not just tweets? But Schiff says he does not support censorship. So recent Twitter files released from Matt Taibbi.
You're saying you have receipts?
There's some receipts here.
Okay.
This was number 27 in the thread. Says they also received an astonishing variety of requests from officials asking for individuals they didn't like to be banned. Here, the Office for Democrat and House Intel Committee Chief Adam Schiff asked Twitter to ban journalist Paul Sperry. They asked them to ban this journalist on the basis that he is spreading QAnon conspiracy theories, QAnon-related conspiracy theories. What were those conspiracy theories? It was actually that he had heard this impeachment, the original impeachment against Trump, the first one having to do with Ukraine and the whole quid pro quo thing. They heard that the whistleblower maybe wasn't as clean as everyone thought, that they might not have been a legit whistleblower. And Paul Sperry was talking about that because he had someone talking to him from the inside. And
That's
so
a
Adam
journalist.
Schiff says, oh, we need to shut this guy down. He's spreading QAnon-related conspiracy theories.
God.
So I do like that Elon Musk set him up and said, hey, do you support banning people or censoring people? And he says, no, I don't. Okay, well, here's some right there. Here you go, Charlie, number 6.
All right, number 6. Oh, Taylor Lorenz. She graces us with her presence again. She tweets, wild to see people posting endless videos of their packed New Year's Eve parties while ERs are packed and doctors are rationing care.
It's not a real thing.
Rationing care. Where?
She made that up.
Taylor? Where? There are no news reports of any rationing of care that I've seen.
No, I looked earlier trying to find them. There were they're sick people. It's the middle of winter.
Also, by the way, by default, an emergency room rations care. It's called a triage system, okay? And this is why when you go to the ER, let's say for like a broken bone or something that's like not life-threatening, you're going to sit there usually for a couple hours up to like a day. I mean, you can sit there for a long time. The reason why is because they're rationing care to people who are actually dying, like Damar Hamlin was dying.
Yeah.
Like that type of dying. Like your heart stopped. It attacked you, you know, or you have a stroke or like something life-threatening. Or maybe you have a broken bone, but you also have like a knife in your belly or something like that.
That's not good.
Yeah.
They don't recommend that. It's not doctor recommended.
So all ERs ration care, depending on what the triage of the injury is and what you qualify for. Are you a level 1 that you need to be seen immediately? Or are you like a level 5? I don't remember what the levels are. Or they have different. Some hospitals use color codes and whatever. It doesn't matter. How severe? How severe is the threat to your life? That's the ration of care that you get. So, and patients complain all the time, like, oh, I want my sandwich or I want this in the ER.
I want my sandwich.
Like, do you realize this guy just wants his fucking heart to beat? All right. You want a turkey sandwich? Okay. Let me get this guy's heart restarted and then we'll bring you your turkey sandwich. So anyway.
That's the exact order.
Yeah.
That's all great, Charlie. The other thing that's important to remember is that she just made that up because she felt like complaining about something and victimizing.
I bet she was
becoming
at
a victim.
A New Year's Eve party.
Oh, she was tweeting about how great it was to not be out. I feel bad for her. I think that she is wildly depressed and suffering from something. I'm not a medical doctor, and if I was, I'd be too busy to answer her anyway.
Oh,
because I'd be rationing my responses.
That's not fair, Mom. I didn't know you were.
Yeah, she snuck in here.
I didn't know you were on the show live.
Normally, he would have lied to you. Sorry, we just realized that Charlie's mom in here is in here listening.
And I must have said a swear word. I don't remember. saying it, but it's probably on tape.
He blacked out.
It's,
He doesn't remember it at all.
we're gonna have to go back and
He's
listen.
going to plead the fifth on that one.
Yeah.
All right. Let's not talk.
I'm not going to apologize until we have the replay. And once I know I'm in the wrong.
We'll look later. We'll look later
wrong
on.
according to who, you know?
Society's oppressive rules.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my mom and I we've had this argument so many times where I'm like,
Who's winning the argument?
it's a stalemate so far. But I'm like, you know, in England, bloody is a cuss word. And over here, it's not. So, like, if I were in England and I said bloody, or Canada, I guess, because they say that there too, I would have to put money in a swear jar.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have to here in America. It makes no good looking sense.
I know. Especially being an open borders libertarian like yourself. There's no reason to have different rules for different words like that.
Exactly.
Just because we're in a different arbitrarily decided border.
Yeah.
You know, you look up there from the space station, you don't see any lines.
That's a dumb bleep number. How many do we have?
I don't know. 11.
11. That's dumb bleep number 11 is words.
Words. Context. I do believe the context. I believe the bloody context matters, Charlie. And no one cares that I just said that, right? I'm not even going to bleep it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Why would you bleep out bloody?
Here's number 7. Nina. Oh, Nina. Nina confused me over the Christmas break. For a little bit, she started tweeting good-based things. She was calling out Mayor Pete for not regulating Southwest hard enough. I wasn't happy with that, but she was at least calling out the Democrat and saying that, you know, if this were the Trump administration, she said because Biden went on vacation during this bomb cyclone winter blizzard that hit the entire United States Southwest hubs.
He probably left like Ted Cruz
He
did
went out of town
during the last Texas freeze, you know?
Exactly. Biden leaves, goes on a nice vacation, and Nina tweeted saying, if this were Trump or if this were Ted Cruz, people would be freaking out right now.
Maybe she is consistent.
No, but then here's the problem. She got enough crap for saying a couple based things that she went way off the deep end. Okay? I actually think she was drunk while she was tweeting those base things. You know?
She got a little drunk
Yeah,
sense?
she got drunk.
Yeah.
Started tweeting about how Biden does it too. now she's you know,
Back
realizing.
in her, yeah.
Anyway, she went on a reparations tirade. You know, she fights for these things specifically for a little while.
She's an activist.
Well, the actor Edward Norton, who was most famous for a movie that we won't talk about, I think, in my book, that's the one that I remember him from.
He looks familiar, but I don't remember.
Oh, you don't remember him at all?
Not really.
You actually mean that?
Yeah, I really.
Oh, I was making a joke. It's Fight Club. I was saying that we weren't going to talk about it. That's the one I know him from.
Yeah.
He's also in this really dumb Glass Onion movie that's out on Netflix if you want to check it out. Anyway, he found out that his ancestors owned slaves, and he said he felt uncomfortable, but that it needs to be talked about. As if he has anything to do with that whatsoever. Or the fact that he's famous or that he's rich or anything has anything to do with the fact that his ancestors owned slaves.
He done screwed up, though.
Anyway, Nina, she says, talked about, no, it needs to be paid for in the form of reparations. Okay, so that's part of the dumb bleep.
You have to pay for generational sins. Edward Norton.
So I'm in there chatting politely with people about my disagreements. And I see someone who says that we need to take accountability. This person says, accountability for what? I never owned slaves, so what am I accountable for? And David James says, neither have I. My family never did. The accountability comes from the government and the capitalist system that squeezed black people dry and built massive wealth since then from that exploitation. So I just wanted to make the point to Nina and David James that unfortunately the government does not have some wealth from slavery lockbox that they have a bunch of money sitting in. The accountability, who's the government? There's no such thing. It's people. People that have accountability. You can't hold the government accountable for anything because the government's just people. That's it. So if you're going to hold people accountable, the government accountable, you're going to be holding people accountable. And who are you going to hold accountable?
White people.
They're all dead. All of them. Gone. And we're negative $30 trillion in debt. We spent all the slave money already. It's gone.
And then some.
And a lot more after that. So whoever thinks that we're going to hold the government accountable is forgetting the fact that the government only has stuff that it took from us. That's it. So you're still holding us accountable, not the government. Jeez.
I guess technically speaking, we've already been held $30 trillion accountable.
Exactly. Can we just call that good?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
We paid it.
Don't believe number 8. San Jose Police Media Relations. I just love when they have a good bust here.
Oh.
Our field training program is one of the finest in the nation. Today, a young officer in training stopped a vehicle and found this assault handgun. The suspect was arrested and given a ride to county jail. Great job, Rook. For those of you that aren't watching the video, I highly encourage you to go to YouTube, search Good Morning Liberty, look for the latest episode of Dumb Bleep of the Week for January 6th.
I'll never forget that.
You'll remember forever.
Mm-hmm.
And look at these new assault handguns that are coming out. That thing might be the scariest looking thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's pretty bad. How would you describe it?
Well, you know, and I don't know if any of you ladies out here knew this.
Oh, no, they didn't.
But now you have to get rid of your Louis Vuitton. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It is obviously complicit and an accomplice.
Well, they're handcrafted to be able to fit, to be able to conceal these assault handguns.
To conceal handheld assault guns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And from the looks of the ammunition, that appears to be 22.
It's the 22, yeah.
Long rifle assault.
It's very long.
Ammunition, yeah.
This is a handgun that has a...
And a COVID mask. So at least they were, protecting people from COVID.
Now, how do they get that magazine working right there? How's this all work? What's going on here? This is... How much do you think I could buy that for? On the black market?
At street prices?
Yeah.
Yes. Now that they removed 1 of 10, probably it's probably more rare.
They're collector's items.
Yeah.
Now, does it come with the ski mask that people definitely wear? Does it come with that?
I don't know.
I don't understand how the gun works. That's why I'm not acting confused right now. I'm actually confused. Because the size of this, it does seem to be an actual handgun, but it's been retrofitted with a magazine that looks like it holds about as many rounds as the normal magazine would.
And a longer barrel.
Yeah.
It's like a banana type of magazine.
Mm-hmm.
So
like an AK-22.
Oh, that's a clip.
That's what the clip is.
That's what they mean when they,
gotcha.
Yeah, when Congress talks about clips.
Well, this being a 22, I forgot how much smaller. It probably holds a couple thousand rounds in there.
Yeah.
What makes a gun?
Well, it shoots a couple thousand rounds per second.
Here's the main question. What differentiates a gun, just your normal gun, from an assault gun?
The looks of it. And there you have it.
I think that's the only thing.
So now we have to ban assault rifles and assault handguns.
You have to.
Yeah.
Just don't make them look scary is the only thing. Let's start making our rifles not look scary. In fact, there's a bunch of them out there.
I'm not even sure that mechanically that you even load the ammunition into that magazine.
It looks fake to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Maybe that's put on for show.
Anyway, let's move on. Charles,
number 9.
Tell us about Dr. Peterson.
All right, number 9, Dr. Jordan Peterson tweets, breaking. I didn't know people did that on their own Twitters.
They actually do it.
Own news.
It's so annoying. I did it today, and I do it making fun of people who do it all the time. But who's that Democrat thing? Occupy Democrats. Everything they tweet is breaking. We hate Republicans. Every single thing. Anyway. Continue.
He tweets, the Ontario College of Psychologists has demanded that I submit myself to mandatory social media communication retraining with their experts for, among other crimes, retweeting Pierre Poilievre.
Possibly.
I heard him pronounce his name earlier, and I want to say it was Poilievre. Poilievre. Something like that, where he kind of Frenched it.
Well, if you did it like how you pronounce Brett Favre's last name, I think that's just Parv.
Favre.
It doesn't make any sense with Brett Favre.
And that's just a crime for retweeting this Pierre guy and criticizing Justin Trudeau and his political allies. So, and third is going to be tweeting this, Dr. Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
You should have known better.
You should have known than to tweet out against these. They're going to take your license.
I called this, by the way. I tried to find I don't remember what the episode is.
Except for like an ego thing. Like, who cares? If I would have him, I'd be like, I'll turn my license in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I were him, I would just been like, here you go. I don't need it. Screw you. Here's my license. I don't care because I can still go on tour and attract 4,000 to 5,000, 6,000 people into a theater that'll want to hear me talk.
It's kind of a scary time, though, where the government decides that they're – because you know that they've been pressured by the government. I don't know who's going to buy the Ontario College of Psychologists to release their emails, if Musk is going to have to do that. But they've clearly been pressured by people who are upset that Peterson's been out there criticizing the government and he has a massive platform, right?
Yeah. And I have a question for you.
Okay.
He did say, you had said that he had agreed to do this as long as he could make it public.
He said that was a condition he was going to ask, but he didn't think that they would actually agree with that. So we'll see.
He wants to make the whole training, the retraining, public.
Yeah.
And that he would do it if he could make it public.
Everyone bear with me here for a minute. I'm trying to make sure I'm not
bears
about to make a mistake. Hold
on. All
on.
right, go to Dumb Bleep number 10.
All right,
this is from Ahmad Ali, Mr. Ahmad Ali. He tweets, if capitalism could solve poverty, it would have already. Rather, it creates, sustains, and criminalizes poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget, Nina Turner made it in here again. This is all surrounding capitalism and poverty. She tweets, unfettered capitalism will not solve poverty that it created. Now,
we got roughly 8 minutes to describe how stupid this is.
I don't know if you guys remember, 200 years ago. You probably don't.
Mm-mm.
200 years ago, that was 1823.
Sure.
If I'm mathing.
You're mathing, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. You probably don't because you weren't here. But 95% of the world or more.
More than that.
99%.
Yeah.
Lived in extreme poverty. You actually had to grow your own food. Did you guys know you could grow your food? Like you could grow it?
You personally?
Yeah, like you yourself could grow your own food.
Compared to today's standards, 100% of the people were in terrible poverty a couple hundred years ago. That's what people have to remember.
Yeah. I mean,
what's considered poverty, Charlie? Not the $1 a day or whatever, but describe to me a person who's in poverty. And I'm not talking about the person on the street in San Francisco, but who's in poverty.
I mean, I would consider actual poverty to be you have to grow or hunt your own food. You have to build your own shelter. You have to, shit on the ground. Sorry, Mom. There's no better word for it.
No other words.
I can't think of another one. Defecate.
Sure.
Defecate in a hole in the ground or something.
Great.
I don't know. To me, that's what poverty would be. You're actually poor. You have to survive on your own. There's no medicine, no doctor, no dentist. 200 years ago, there were no dentists. There was no such thing as lidocaine. No such thing as numbing. Just think about that one thing.
So right now, our poverty.
Now, do you think dentists came about out of goodness of their own heart?
Maybe.
Just cared about tooth pain that much?
Possibly they did. I don't know. What bothers me is they're talking about solving poverty, but when they mention poverty, these people are actually talking about those who make less than $19,500 a year in America or whatever the number is.
Don't get me wrong, that sucks.
It does.
It does suck.
Yes. But now you're saying that capitalism...
You're still richer. By the way, if you make $19,000 a year, you're still in the top 90% or top 10% in the world.
Yeah.
Literally. It's insane.
To say stuff like this, you've got to believe that if it were not for capitalism, those people would all have more than that, or they would have everything that everyone else has above that. If not for capitalism, it's because the only reason we have the people that are in that situation who make that less than 19,000 is because capitalism created that entire scenario. And if it weren't for capitalism, everyone would have everything that they need. These people that are in poverty, you're talking about, they have a tough time with the internet bill.
You know what?
And with a medical bill. Sure, medical bills are way too expensive. We know that for sure. But you're still saying that if it weren't for capitalism.
With their $1,200 a month car payment.
I know. Geez, the car. Anytime I see someone with a new car, I'm like, how? How did you do this? Teach me.
They don't care. That's
I know. Just different people have different priorities. Yeah. You know?
The thing is, they probably most likely won't have that car come a year or so.
Well, they're gonna pay a lot of money. It could be a lease, possibly, something like that too. Although that's not really cheaper than buying one anymore these days. It used to be a little bit cheaper. I feel like it's more now.
Oh, it depends on if they're running a deal or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But here's the thing, though, Nate. I don't know if I disagree with them.
Okay.
Completely. Let me give you my reasoning. Okay. If we didn't have capitalism, we wouldn't have to read stupid ass tweets like this.
That is true.
We wouldn't be here reading this dumb.
I wonder if they're also correct in the sense that she says capitalism will not solve the poverty that it created. Now, because of capitalism, that standard that we take as poverty is gall darn amazing compared to almost everywhere else on the planet, and definitely compared to anyone throughout human history. And so they're saying capitalism won't solve that poverty which it created, that poverty being one of a higher standard of living than the richest person 120 years ago. And so she's saying maybe the capitalism created this massively high standard of living, but because not everyone produces the same amount of value as everyone else, there will be people that we consider to still be in poverty relative to the massive amounts of wealth creation that we've had in our beautiful market system. And therefore, capitalism will not solve the fact that some people don't create as much value as other people do.
Also, people fail.
Is that what she means?
People fail to realize that it's good to have rich people. I think Jordan Peterson made this argument in his debate with Slavoj Žižek, or whatever his name is.
That was it.
Honey Dijon, Žižek, whatever his name is. He made this point that rich people are necessary because they're necessary to try out new things.
Mm-hmm.
That way, eventually it makes its way down to people. It becomes more affordable because it's a proof of concept.
Trickle-down TVs.
Yeah. Well, TVs, flying, right? Remember how, not that long ago, flying was pretty expensive. Right now, flying private's really expensive. But maybe 20 years from now, who knows, if we're going to space or whatever, you have all these crazy different things. Flying private might trickle down to the middle class.
Flying to space is pretty expensive right now.
Right.
But if it weren't for the rich people that are paying for that, we might not have that available to everyone.
And 50 years from now, who knows, people could maybe take regular flights to space.
You got your $20,000 computer that whatever year something like that would have cost. Maybe not 20 grand. But
no, when computers first came out, it was $1 million or more. No,
in today's numbers.
I'm serious.
Well, the very first computer, it probably took them a lot of money to make that. I'm talking about a retail computer. It wasn't retailing for $1 million.
Well, I'm just saying computers used to take up an entire room.
Yeah. Well, that one probably cost $1 million. Yeah. You're right.
It's a lot of money.
But yes, rich people are necessary because they are the ones who create that first market for those new technologies. That is accurate. But what these people assume is that if it's only capitalism is the reason that we have poverty, it creates this system. And if it weren't for capitalism, everyone would be living the most perfect, highest standard of living that there's ever been. We've got no proof of that ever being the case. It's a very, very dangerous scenario to try.
In fact, we have there's so much evidence against any other system besides capitalism so far. Now, somebody comes up with something brand new, sure. But the problem is they argue against capitalism in favor of like socialism and communism and those different systems that we know. There's so much evidence against them, and they still exist today. It's not like it's a fabrication. It's not like it's some ideology that we don't know about. You just go to North Korea or go to Venezuela.
I don't want to go to North Korea.
I'm just saying it's there.
At the end of the day, that doesn't matter because I don't like capitalism because it's the best system. I like it because it says that people own their own bodies and themselves, and they can create value and trade freely with one another and have voluntary exchange.
I'm just saying at least it's the best system. At the very least.
I love that those two things are both true at the same time. Yeah. That's good. It just happens to be that the more freedom people have to voluntarily exchange, also the better lives the most amount of people has. That's great.
All right, y'all.
Number 1 is going to be honorary Jan 6th. Number 2 is going to be Dan Crenshaw. Number 3, Cori Bush saying that Byron Donalds is not a historic candidate.
For what it's worth.
For what it's worth. Not historic because I guess he's not really black. Despite being black, his policies uphold white supremacy, which we didn't even talk about. We just skirted past the entire idea that what anyone on the conservative or Republican right wants is something that perpetuates white supremacy. Yeah. We didn't even spend any time on that. I had a terrible headache that popped up about 20 minutes ago that's making the right side of my face like twitch. It hurts so bad. I just want to let everyone know how powerful and strong we are to keep going through this. Number 4, the White House is tweeting out about the unemployment claims, comparing when Biden took office to what we have right now. You heard it correctly. Adam Schiff is number 5 for saying that he doesn't support censorship. Whoops. Literally asking for a journalist to be banned for BS reasons. Number 6, Taylor Lorenz saying that people out there partying while ERs are packed and doctors are rationing care. Number 7, reparations. It's time, man. You got to take accountability. Well, the government's got to take accountability.
Nina Turner.
Not you. Nina Turner is number 7. Number 8, San Jose assault handgun confiscation.
Yeah.
Number 9 is what's happening to Dr. Jordan B. Peterson at the moment. And number 10 goes down to this capitalism created the poverty that we have today.
All right, y'all, get your votes in while you're voting. Those of you who want to join in on this voting or become a real libertarian, as those have, you can go to joingml.com, sign up to be a real libertarian, and then get to hang out with us. You get all kinds of cool perks, mainly hanging out with us, chatting with us. You get direct access to Nate. He'll respond within 5 to 7 business days, and which isn't
GML,
which isn't too bad. So
yeah,
joingml.com. Go get some merch at godhatesfeds.com. Godhatesfeds.com. God hates Ray. Epps.
God hates feds.
And
there's Charlie's idea, not mine, Cheryl.
Get yourself some coffee mugs. Everybody loves coffee.
Shirts.
Yeah. Shirts.
Well, this is a nice, it's January 6th, so I've got this one up here. It says pro-insurrection since 1776.
There we go.
Even though we were not pro this non-insurrection.
Wasn't a real one.
But if there was a real insurrection based on real principles,
you'd show up with your assault
we would definitely
handgun.
Tweet out our support of it.
Also, share the show with a friend, a family member, or a foe. All right, who won? Looking like
number 10. Number 10, Nina Turner and Ahmed Ali.
How about that?
Talking about capitalism and the poverty that it has created. Great job, everyone. Got bad news for you, though. I think I submitted those. So
you get a point.
We'll see, unless someone else has got proof of them submitting those items today, but that's what we got right now.
I'm kind of feeling like Oprah, though. You get a point. You get a point. Everybody gets a point.
Nina Turner coming out. We all get points today.
Give everybody watching today a point.
I'm not going to pay attention to everyone that's in the group right now.
Those of you that aren't watching, you don't get any points. All right, y'all, like I said, do all the things. All of them. Like I said. And I'm demanding that that's my capitalism authoritarianism there. I'm able to demand you to do things, but you don't have to because there's no follow-up with that. But do them anyway because I asked nicely and kindly. And
I'm so confused right now.
To do all the things I mentioned before we revealed the vote.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
So sign up, join gmail.com, go to godhatesfeds.com, and then share the show with a friend, family member, or foe. If you do that, then we'll be back again tomorrow. Hope you have a good day and a good morning, Liberty.